Okay. So we are talking today about the PhD in educational policy and leadership. At this point, if you're playing this recording, I believe we would have already done introductions. So I will skip over the welcome slide, and we can just get started. So the PhD in Ed Policy and Leadership is an opportunity to advance your career and research skills to reach career goals in educational administration, policy, or academia. Students in this program pursue research and have interests in various settings and areas of education, allowing you to follow your passion. So we have multiple concentrations within this program, which I'll talk about in a little bit. In the program, you also have the opportunity to learn from and work with faculty with a wide range of expertise, experiences, and research interests. The program is a 69 credit minimum program plus dissertation. So you would continuously enroll in credit while working on your dissertation beyond the 69 credits. We do in this department have a very flexible course offering, mainly targeted toward working professionals. So there are online, hybrid, in-person, evening courses to fit your schedule. And I'll talk a little bit about that as well. We also do allow and accept previous graduate coursework, which I'll talk about too. I mentioned that we have multiple concentrations, allowing you to focus your studies on your area of interest within education. So, if you're most interested in policy and learning about the social science approaches to policy, about its adoption, implementation, and evaluation, we have that option for you. We have global and comparative educational policy. So if you are looking at the policymaking process from a global perspective, so the way that this is handled in different places around the world. Um, the higher education leadership concentration, if your focus is in a college or university and you're interested in leadership or policy analysis at that level. And then school leadership prepares for leadership positions at all levels of education, but do want to mention that it does not lead to a leadership certification, such as a school building or a school district leader certification, although we do have programs in those areas if it's something that you're interested in. So the program requirements, breaking it down by credit, and I'll show you on the next page. We have a really nice diagram of all of this, but there are pre-core requirements and core requirements, which are generally focused in social analysis and uh, other areas of educational leadership, your concentration courses that are in your area of concentration, the different four areas that I just mentioned. Support discipline coursework applies social sciences to the field of education. So you're looking at education through different lenses. There is a research sequence of coursework. There's generous elective credits available for you to pursue courses that you're interested in. We have a great selection of courses, and then of course the program doctoral examination and your original research and dissertation. So when we're looking at this sort of from an aerial view, this is what it looks like, and this is the student program plan that if you were in the program, you would fill this out with the courses that fit into each category. So this is just sort of to give you an idea of how this all fits, right? So your 6 credits in pre-core and core, your concentration, support discipline, research sequence, electives, and dissertation. This is a lot of text on one on one slide. I am not going to read this to you all, unfortunately, probably to your disappointment. But this is a listing of the courses that are offered within the Department of Educational Policy and Leadership. So even just at first glance and taking a quick look around, you'll see that we have courses on a number of different topics, right? So the concentration courses, certainly you might see a few that pique your interest, but there's also room with the elective requirements to take some additional courses that interest you within the department. I do believe that in special circumstances, if there's a course outside of the department that applies to your area of study, that's something you could discuss with an advisor, but many of the courses, large majority of courses that you would take would be within this department, educational policy and leadership. And just to mention our faculty who are wonderful. I've had the pleasure and opportunity to work with many of them in both an academic and professional setting. We have faculty members who have worked for a number of organizations and who conduct research in a number of different areas. So we're looking at UNESCO, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. We have those who work in mental health in schools, academic affairs, higher education management, um, super super broad range of research interests and expertise. And so I recommend specifically for our students interested in a PhD program to explore our faculty bios to learn if there are faculty members in particular who share your research or professional interests. So, this is the department website. So, this is the Department of Educational Policy and Leadership website. And if you just scroll down past all of the awesome news that highlights our faculty, you would see the faculty within our department, and you can learn a little bit more about each of them by clicking on their um, name and learning about their research, their professional experiences. A lot of times you can see a resume or a CV, and just see if there is someone who aligns with your interests. Um, so information for applicants to this program, we require transcripts from all schools attended, 3 letters of recommendation with at least 2 from professors, and students may submit up to 5 letters to make for a strong application if they believe that would strengthen the application. Your resume, personal statement of goals, an educational leadership essay, and an academic writing sample. I'll go through each of these a little bit more detail. For those who are applying without departmental assistantship consideration, the deadline is rolling. But I do recommend, because our admissions committee gives considerable time in reviewing PhD candidates to make sure that they're a good fit for our program. Minimally about 8 weeks before the semester that you're applying to is usually a good idea. And then for departmental assistantship consideration for the fall, the deadline was February 15th, and for the spring, October 1st. So for transcripts, if you've previously attended UAlbany, you don't need to request a transcript. They would have that on file. When we're looking at GPA, we're looking at GPA from all institutions and levels. We're looking at undergraduate, graduate coursework. You can upload unofficial transcripts for your application to be considered, but we do need official transcripts once you are accepted and plan to enroll. There's great information on the graduate school's website. So the graduate school handles our graduate admissions process. There's great information on their website about how to submit transcripts and truly great information about how to submit all of the different documents and materials for your application, kind of like step by step. For letters of recommendation, these are submitted directly through the online application portal. Essentially, you would enter the contact information for your recommenders. They will receive an email with a link where they can submit their letter on your behalf, and it automatically gets uploaded to your application. I would ask your recommenders to be sure that they did receive the email. Sometimes it can go to a spam folder, so you might just want to check in with them after you've entered their contact information. We recommend that letters of recommendation be specific to the program that you are applying to whenever possible. And whenever possible, the department requests at least 2 letters of recommendation from faculty members who have taught you in a classroom, who can speak to your academic capabilities, to your academic potential to be successful in a doctoral level program. There are exceptions to this where if you've been out of school for a very long time, you could use professional references to even strengthen your application further. You could take some non-degree coursework and potentially use a faculty member from a non-degree course that you take more recently to write you a letter of recommendation. And like I mentioned, other letters can come from those who have observed you in a professional setting, but if they can still speak to your potential for success in a doctoral program, even better. Always give your recommenders plenty of notice, as well as a hard deadline ahead of the application due date or the date that you plan to submit. Your statement of goals for us, what we're looking at, we determine your fit for the program. Do your goals? Do your experiences, do they line up with what our program has to offer, what our program values, what our program focuses on? We also use this to evaluate writing skills. And then for you, this is your opportunity to tell us about yourself. What highlight your background and your interests that have led you to this program. Why are you selecting this particular program? Why are you pursuing this degree? What do you hope to do with it? What are your overarching goals? Speak specifically to your research interests and how you'd like to pursue those. It should be purposeful and to the point, usually 1 to 2 pages. Try to make it specific to the program that you're applying to, and there are lots of helpful resources to help you in crafting your statement. We also require an academic writing sample. So a sample of your academic work, such as a course term paper or research paper, and as well as an educational leadership essay where you respond to a prompt using a maximum of 800 words to respond to a prompt on a topic in educational leadership. Frequently asked questions. So how long does this program typically take? This is a highly dependent question, so it depends on a lot of things. Typical completion for any doctoral program, like on average, is 4 years of full-time study, but it depends on a lot of things. Are you studying full-time or part-time? Are you working? Do you have other life commitments? How many credits are you bringing in toward the program that could shorten your time to completion? Time management skills and motivation, the type of research you plan to conduct once you've completed your coursework, and how long it will take you to write your dissertation. Regardless of how long it takes, there is an 8-year statute of limitations where all students who enroll in a doctoral program have 8 years to finish at the university. Can the program be done part-time? Absolutely. We get this question all the time. Of course, taking courses part-time would lengthen the time to completion, but a lot of the question that we get is around whether you could work full-time while in the program. And I worked full-time while I was in the program. I did have transfer credits that I brought in, but it is certainly possible and very common within the program. There is a residency requirement that requires that you have a certain amount of time in full-time study, or that you can provide a statement that you are involved in something professionally that relates to your course of study, which is the option that I did. I did not have the opportunity or the option to study full-time while in the program, so I submitted a statement along with my advisor to that effect. Continuous registration is required for doctoral students, but if necessary, a leave of absence can be permitted. Can my previous graduate coursework count toward the program? As I mentioned already, yes, it can. Previous applicable graduate coursework can count toward this program. You'd work with an advisor after you enroll to determine which of your previous coursework can count, and where it sort of falls on that program planning sheet that I showed you. Students can bring in up to 34 credits, and considerations include the content of the course. So does it apply to the program, and the length of time since the course was taken, with like much older courses being less likely to be considered. Are online courses offered? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So although course offerings differ each semester, you'll find a great selection of online, in-person, and hybrid courses. This might be something that someone who is there live can follow up on, but a large majority of the coursework in this program can be completed online. There is also the opportunity for the in-person components for those who would like it, and of course the synchronous online courses where you're still able to engage with faculty and other students. Online courses may be synchronous or asynchronous, or a mix of the two. And any in-person and synchronous online courses are typically going to be offered in the evenings to accommodate working professionals. There are even sometimes the opportunity for a weekend course. Another question that we receive very frequently is, in what ways can I fund my graduate studies? And so assistantships are one way. So I mentioned that you can apply for this program with consideration for a departmental assistantship. The department offers a limited number of assistantships for doctoral students, which carry benefits, tuition benefits, and/or a stipend, where you do work within the department as a teaching assistant, a research assistant, or another administrative role within the School of Education. In order to apply for this, it requires full-time and in-person study, and you would apply for this on your application. There are also assistantships available through the graduate school, so they don't have anything to do with the department or departmental research, and they might be in another area within the university. There are university-wide scholarships, and there are also School of Education specific scholarships offered each year. There's a list of at least 30 or so scholarships that School of Education is able to offer specifically to our students. You can apply for them each year that you're a student within the program, and you can apply for as many scholarships as you are eligible for with only one application. So that's a huge, huge benefit that we're able to offer and happy to offer. Um, but for any other questions around tuition, funding graduate studies, any questions like that, we do recommend that you reach out to financial aid. So more information. I brought you guys already to our department website that has really, really awesome information. Our programs, student resources, news about our faculty and our students, and then of course the faculty bios that I showed you all earlier. The program page, I'm sure many of you have already visited this. This is the program page, which has information about the program itself, contact information for Dr. Giuliano, who advises students when they enter our program, information about the concentrations and the admission requirements. There's also a link here for the graduate bulletin, which provides greater detail about the components necessary to complete the program. Um, there's our also contact information for some of the people who were able to join us tonight, some of them who were not. So we have Dr. Schiller, Dr. Giuliano, Maria Moon, who's also the department coordinator, and Dr. Trollian, who's an associate professor, but also oversees the admissions process and can be a wonderful resource as well. She was not able to join us tonight. The Pi Center, my office, is a great place to find information. We provide information to prospective students and answer questions about all of our programs. Sorry. We offer Zoom meetings by appointment. We are very responsive to our emails, so happy to help anytime. And usually we're a great place to start when answering questions. We usually can answer your questions, but we also know who to reach out to if we can't. And then we have the questions that were submitted when students registered for this session. Some of them we've already covered, some we have not. So thank you all for submitting such thoughtful questions. I think now would be a really great time to pause the recording that we're sharing and then just keep this page up and focus in on the questions and any other questions that have come up during the course of this session. So if you do have additional questions, now is a great time to either enter them in the chat or just call them out. We're happy to help. So I'm going to stop the recording now, and you guys can keep this screen up with the questions. So yeah, thank you.